I am delighted to be joined today by Mark Stringer, aka Strings, founder and group chair, Pretty Green, the UK-based communications group known for its global fame making. Strings and the team recently completed the acquisition of agency futures client Pinpoint Media, a fast-growing UK performance agency with strong AI and technology capability. Mark, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us this morning.
Pleasure. Lovely to be here, Simon.
Thank you so much. If that's toast being made in the background, then that's completely fine. I understand kids are making breakfast, so thank you for doubly for taking the time. And look, it's not often that we get to hear the sort of the buy side story in these transactions. So I'm really looking forward to exploring your thinking behind this deal and perhaps also try and take from it some of the signals for the broader indie agency market. But before we get into the transaction itself, I'd love to take a step back. Pretty Green built a really distinctive position around the idea of purposeful fame. So it's a concept that combines cultural impact with commercial return, obviously. How would you describe where Pretty Green is today in its journey? And just secondly, what is driving the buy and build strategy that you're now following?
I think, we're 17 years young. And I think you get to a point as a founder, I think as an agency team, a lot of us have been together on a leadership team for quite a long time. Agency life, there's I suppose, two paths there. Build to sell, or you build to buy, as you said. And I think as a founder, we get approached. There aren't loads of independent agencies of our scale and our size doing the type of work we do. So we get approached quite a lot, as you can imagine, by people wanting to acquire us. I got to a place where I suppose you're at a crossroads and you say, do we sell? Or do we actually do something else? And we entertained it a little bit. And I suppose it said to me that I don't want to sell the agency. I am not ready. I think there's so much more we can do with our brand and our business. We've got the most phenomenal clients doing the most amazing work.
Yeah.
So why give it all up? And given the state of the market with the holdcos and everything that's going on, why would you want someone else to be in charge of your destiny when actually it's a really exciting place to be? So then you're faced with a choice. What do you do? What do you actually do? If you don't want to sell the agency and you want to scale the agency, do you just focus on organic growth? And we know that is a very tough place. So we took a decision to say, actually, let's take a buy strategy. Let's go out and find like-minded independent agencies that want to go on a different adventure. And that was, what we decided to do to continue doing more of what we want to do with more people.
Yeah. Yeah. And so within that sort of context, Pinpoint Media, what attracted you to Pinpoint Media? What made that an obvious next step for you?
We didn't set out to buy a performance, marketing agency. That wasn't actually on the cards. We didn't say, oh, here's the capability that we definitely need.
Yeah.
We had a line that said, look, we want to buy a more AI enabled business. Was definitely something that we thought about. But we went through a policy of just looking at lots of different agencies from lots of different sectors or sort of specific sort of specialisms that we, whether it was more niche B2C, whether it was more specialist B2B, from crisis to digital, social, influencer, we looked at probably about 150 different businesses and, shortlisted, had lots of conversations and continue to have those conversations. What we found with Pinpoint and Ollie was we realized that we wanted a business where the founders didn't want to exit. That was a very, very key piece for us to actually think about how we, the sort of area that I look after more and more is what we call Pretty Green Adventures. So the idea that people want to go on a new adventure, they don't just want to take some money and go off into the sunset. Great. They have a different adventure. Someone said to me years ago who invested in one of my businesses was, I back the jockey, not the horse. And we know we need to look at the capabilities that the clients are looking for and the problems that you solve. And we approached it. We've got a 3-pronged strategy that we're driving our growth through. And the first sort of strategy that we approached it from an internal perspective was actually what we call accelerate. So what can we accelerate internally? How do we change the planning and financial investment horizons internally? Because as you know, once you invest, someone says, oh, let's do this. Someone's like, where's the return? What's the ROI? Do we flex? When do we get the money back? Internally, that's incredibly difficult because what happens is you say, why don't we do this? And what happens is the CFO quite rightly says, oh, great. So that's going to go into my next quarter numbers. Is that going into H1? Where's that return? So we approached it from a perspective of saying internally we would have an accelerate strategy to overinvest in different areas where we saw growth potential, like influencer, which is very good for us. The
Yeah.
second point that we looked at was a strategy that said we need to incubate. So what could we incubate internally by bringing someone in, by bringing a team in? So for instance, our digital PR, we've always done it, but actually bringing in digital PR was really, really important for us. And therefore, we've incubated that team with Lou Ali coming in, which is already paying great dividends. And then the third strategy was how do we invest in the acquisition and what do we acquire? So we were running, and we continue to run those three sort of strategies in can you run three things in tandem? In
Yeah.
parallel, probably.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
And because we're running that process as a continuum, the conversations with the likes of Pinpoint and other agencies, you're kind of looking for that Venn diagram join up. Ollie and Pinpoint wasn't an immediate one. We do paid anyway around a lot of the work we do on influencer. And I think the more we explored it, the more we thought, okay, buying that capability, buying that difference, but it's incredibly complementary and we can see the marry of clients and skills that could really work alongside also a culture, which is incredibly important.
Definitely, definitely.